Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WWE News and Rumors. This video is brought to you by SeatGeek. So if you guys are looking for tickets for anything in the world, does not have to be wrestling related, use code Hodge at SeatGeek and save yourselves 20 frickin' bucks. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. Brandon on here, and welcome back to another juicy episode of WWE News and Rumors. So we have a lot of news and rumors to talk about today, so let's go ahead and jump right in. Alright, the first news story of the day is going to be about Mr. Paul White, aka The Big Show. So if you guys haven't heard at this point, you're probably living under a rock. I didn't do a news episode yesterday, so today's when I'm talking about it and kind of give my reaction, my thoughts to this. So ladies and gentlemen, The Big Show, Mr. Paul White, has signed with AEW. You heard me right. Now this is the WWE News show, so we won't waste too much time on this. But you know, Big Show is a large, literally large WWE name that has now left the WWE, has signed with the competing company AEW. So this is just crazy. Big Show has been signed to the WWE for the past 22 years. You heard me right. 22 years Big Show's been signed with the WWE. But then now it's all changed. He's turned his back on the WWE and now he's in AEW. So he was not on AEW this week. I guess he's going to be on next week. So that's going to be interesting to see him actually on the thing. He's going to be a commentator as well as a wrestler. He is going to be a performer that has been announced. He's wrestling for AEW. So there's a lot of questions here, not really too many answers. I have a few answers, rumored answers, that we'll talk about in the rumor section. But my thoughts on this, it's just shocking, and it's just like, who's going to show up in AEW next? Like, your guess is as good as mine. This is just crazy, something I definitely did not see coming, but it has happened. Big Show, Paul White, is now an AEW wrestler. He is no longer a WWE superstar. And the next news story, this news story is a bit funny to hear. So I don't know if the corporate people even watch WWE or not. The people who watch or like work in WWE's corporate office, if they even watch the product or not. So basically, this is about the WWE Network and their lack of growth. So obviously, in a way, the WWE Network is being canceled. At least in the United States, it's being canceled. It's being moved to Peacock, and I don't know how that's working. I haven't tried it out yet. I don't know if it works yet. Maybe some of you can enlighten me in the comments. But basically, the lack of growth on the WWE Network has always been a discussion. Because back in 2014, I don't know where WWE got this claim from, but they started claiming that WWE was in 50 million different households in the United States. And we're like, what? What are you talking about? 50 million? 50 million! Each episode of Raw only gets like, I mean, I don't even know what it got back in 2014. It's better than now. It probably got like 3 or 4 million. But 50 million, you guys are stretching the truth a little bit more than what's, you know, plausible. So basically, that's what they reported back then. In reality, the number of network subscribers was not 50 million. It was 2 million. It was 2 million subscribers. Fast forward to now, how many subscribers does the WWE Network have? Well, they have slightly over 1 million, so it's actually dropped. It has not been growing. It has actually dropped in subscriber numbers, the WWE Network has. And you know, the Wall Street Journal, I guess, was interviewing the CFO of the WWE. And if you don't know, CFO is like the chief financial officer of the WWE. So basically, she was interviewed by the Wall Street Journal. She was asked, what is up with the lack of growth within the WWE Network? And then she basically said, I would argue about that. I would argue that the WWE Network's lack of growth. In fact, we haven't actually really been trying. We haven't tried to really grow the WWE Network. We haven't really pushed it like other places would have pushed it for it to grow. And I'm like, lady, are you high? What are you talking about? Why do you even have a job here? Do you not watch the product? Because every single week for the past, 6, 7 years, it's been $9.99 WWE Network, first month free, all this bullcrap to push the network. So don't try to tell me you guys didn't promote the network, because you never got it out of my freaking head. Every time I turn on one of your programs, all I hear is WWE Network, subscribe today. It's like, that's all I hear, so shut up. Maybe I'm getting a little heated here, but for her to like come out and say they're not really trying to push it like other places would push it and all that, it's like, okay, maybe you're not using the platforms that other ones would use, like, I don't know, like to track your voice when you're not using your phone, your microphone's still on, and they're listening to you or something. I don't know what she's talking about, because they pushed the hell out of the WWE Network. I mean, they put a freaking flag on top of the corporate office, for the love of God, saying WWE Network $9.99 on top of the freaking building. So I don't know how you could push it much heavier than they already have. So it's kind of a poor excuse, but that was the WWE official chief financial officer's excuse for the lack of growth of the WWE Network. And ultimately, the lack of growth is the reason they even sold it to Peacock. So that's what has happened. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so those are actually the only confirmed news stories I had to talk to you guys about today. But don't you dare go anywhere, because things are about to get good. Things are actually about to get a little juicy around here. So I'd go ahead and suggest for you guys to get your juice boxes out, get your juice boxes ready, because ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to talk about some juicy rumors. All right, the first rumor. This one is also going to be about Big Show, but we can kind of talk about rumors instead of the confirmed things. So Big Show, like I talked about earlier in the news episode here, he is now signed with AEW. Of course, he cannot use the Big Show name because WWE own the term Big Show. So he has to use the name of Paul White. I mean, can there not be something else? Can the Giant or something? Or does WWE own that too from like WCW? I don't know. But basically, he has been signed to AEW, so there's a lot of questions here. Like, we could literally write off a giant list of questions here. But I'll just answer a few of the rumors I have here. So basically, Big Show apparently told the WWE literally only a few weeks ago that he will not be re-signing with them, and he will in fact not do anything with them of any sort in the future. That's basically what he told, the WWE head officials, whoever it may have been. It may have been, one of the head officials. It would either have to be, I would imagine, Vince McMahon, or like Triple H or Stephanie or someone. He basically told them, I will not be re-signing, and I will not do anything with you guys in the future. There's like a rumor that's been going around that Big Show was very unhappy about what he was doing on Raw Legends Night. I guess he showed up to the arena thinking he was going to wrestle or something, and then he just got like stuck in some type of backstage segment where Randy Orton just bullied him, verbally assaulted the man. And that was basically it, saying, Randy Orton said, Big Show, your career's over. You will never wrestle again. That's basically what Orton said. Maybe Big Show was kind of thinking, in his actual head, being like cutting through the character or whatever, and kind of going like, do I want to be like this? Well, I don't know if it was a thing where WWE's being like, okay, you're done, Big Show, you're not wrestling anymore, which was like a similar situation with Sting, because Sting is now in AEW as well, because WWE wouldn't let him wrestle anymore. So maybe it's a similar situation with Big Show, but the final little bullet point rumor I have to get with a Big Show thing is all about this right here, and if you don't know what that means, I'm talking about cold, hard cash. So this is about money. Or not necessarily money, it could just be contract negotiations or whatever. So obviously Big Show didn't have a WWE contract or he wouldn't have been able to go to AEW. So his contract was expiring, and apparently the week of Raw Legends they were kind of negotiating a new deal for Big Show. Big Show wasn't liking it too much. Maybe it was a Legends contract where he wouldn't be wrestling, it'd be a very little amount of money. It probably had something to do with money, but I wouldn't say it was all to do with money. Maybe he just wanted to be a full-time wrestler again, and have a full-time wrestling contract, and of course make that good money. And WWE didn't want to do it, so he got an offer from the biggest competing company around right now, Mr. AEW, All Elite Wrestling. So yeah, I mean, this is putting in my mind very similar situation like the '90s in WCW and WWE, like competing for each wrestler's contract. They're going to offer them the biggest contract. Whoever offers the biggest one gets the star. So whoever coughs up the most money for the person gets the person. So it's very similar to WCW, I would say. And literally right now, any star from any company could end up anywhere. It all depends on who offers the bigger contract, I guess. But apparently, AEW did offer Big Show the bigger contract and to him actually wrestling. So Big Show went ahead and decided, I am leaving WWE after 22 years. I am All Elite. All right, the next rumor also kind of has to do with a similar thing. So there's a rumor with a source or something. All these are sources. These are all from dirt sheets. Always find them on 3 or 4 different sources to make sure it is legitimate. So this one basically says that a lot of WWE wrestlers could end up in AEW in the next few months. It really depends on contracts. Contracts do expire, and as those contracts get up to close to being expired, WWE will offer a new contract. And then something new, AEW will also offer a contract, so whoever gives the bigger contract's actually going to get the stars. So a lot of WWE stars could end up in AEW in the future, or even vice versa. AEW stars could end up in WWE. I guess it all depends on those contract offers. The next rumor, so WrestleMania 37, this is a WrestleMania 37 match rumor. There's a rumor going around right now that Charlotte's match at WrestleMania, Charlotte Flair's match, will actually be against Asuka. So that's the current rumor. Apparently they were supposed to set it up on Raw better than they did, but Asuka got her teeth knocked out. If you guys didn't see that, Shayna actually kicked her and knocked her teeth out. I somehow missed the tooth flying when I was talking about it in the last news episode, but she did get her tooth knocked out. So obviously She was injured a little bit, so they didn't really build it up as much as they were going to. But apparently Charlotte Flair versus Asuka, partners turned on each other, is going to be on the WrestleMania card. So we had a gap, we had a question, who is Asuka facing for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania? Who will be the challenger? And apparently it will actually be her tag team partner is going to turn on her, and it's going to be Charlotte Flair versus Asuka at WrestleMania 37. That is the current rumor for the Raw Women's Championship. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, get your tissues out, get your tissues ready, because this is the final news story, the final rumor, the final thing I'll be talking about inside of this episode of WWE News and Rumors. So this one is going to be about WrestleMania as well. It has to do with the one of the main events. As we all know, there's multiple main events for WrestleMania. The words of Vince McMahon. So basically, the WWE Championship. The Miz is the current champion, but he's defending the title next week against Lashley. There's a rumor going around right now saying that Miz will not be defending the title at WrestleMania because he will not be champion at WrestleMania. He will not be in the match at all. There's a rumor that Lashley will, so there's obviously that possibility that Lashley will be going into WrestleMania as the WWE Champion. But who will his challenger be? Well, in my mind, I was thinking Drew McIntyre. That's what we talked about in the last news episode, was Drew McIntyre versus Lashley for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. But maybe, just maybe, that won't happen. Maybe he'll have a different challenger, which is what this rumor's saying. If it's possible, if they can get him to be there and to do it safely and all of that, his challenger will not be Drew McIntyre. This rumor is actually saying Lashley will be defending his WWE Championship against Mr. Brock Lesnar. So Brock Lesnar versus Lashley at WrestleMania 37 for the WWE Championship. Maybe Lesnar will win the title, and then maybe, Lesnar and Roman Reigns will both be champions inside the WWE at the same time with Paul Heyman at both of their sides. This seems like a really, really cool combo for some reason. Just Paul Heyman ruling the place with, got Brock Lesnar on this side, WWE Champion. We got Roman Reigns on this side at Universal Champion. That'd be really cool. But at the same time, I guess Roman Reigns would have to retain against Edge, which I don't know if I'm a fan of that or not. But now this is all granted that Lesnar does want to return to the WWE. They're able to work out a new contract, and the bigger issue is he's able to get across the border safely because he lives in Canada, and as we all know, there's a travel ban right now due to the pandemic. So it's all given that they can work something out and they're able to pull this off. Maybe, just maybe, one of the main events for WrestleMania will be Brock Lesnar versus Lashley for the WWE Championship. So there you guys have it. That is actually going to do it for this episode of WWE News and Rumors. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Right now on screen, I'm going to leave a link to 2 previous videos for you guys to check out, as well as a button to subscribe to this channel if you're brand new here. But thank you guys for watching this video. I am Brandon Hodge, and I will see you guys in the next video.